once again come to you from the new location, the new public safety social media bunker here, social media division 18, broadcasting to you live. I am, of course, your host, Vice Captain, Secret Doves, age 34, and my contract is with the War Devil. Before we dive into this chapter discussion, I would like both of my illustrious guests to introduce yourselves and give your name, age, and devil contract.
All right. I go. My name is Xavier Ortiz. I made a contract with the Yap Devil. I'm still contracted with the Yap Devil. That is not going to end anytime soon. And I'm 32 years old.
Shoot.
Hi, I'm the Art Devil, currently subcontracting for the Pretentiousness Devil.
Oh, okay.
And today's my birthday. That's all you're getting.
Whoa, okay. The number is a mystery, but happy birthday.
Well,
thank you for celebrating with us here. That's...
Yeah.
Won't be a mystery if you watch the last video, but right.
Let's fucking go.
Art's about 35,000 years old, give or take 5,000.
Roughly. Okay, yeah, sure. Hey, let's go. And we are here. Normally I like to do a little more preamble, but this is a chunky chapter.
Yep.
Chapter 194 of Chainsaw Man, Fun School Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Was not on my bingo card, not gonna lie to you. School Festival.
Once again, punching above the weight class of his page count.
Yeah,
I know.
Way above the weight class.
Yeah, everyone complains like, 15-page chapters. You read that and tell me it feels like it's 15 pages. This guy is
I won't lie to you.
Doing so much in so little space.
The way he draws them, the way they read is like it is 5 pages, relatively speaking. But the amount of is super dense. You know what I mean? It's. I mean, we come on here every week, and it's pretty easy to go for an hour discussing everything in the chapter. So, let's get into it. We start with a moral predicament for Denji. What did you two think of this? What did you think of this display of ethics from Denji here?
For me, I think it's a pretty obvious bait and switch. The audience is supposed to think he's going to do one thing, but then he does something else.
Sure.
I've heard a lot of
tension.
I've heard, I've heard some people saying online that he's like clearly considering doing something reprehensible. I don't see it. I think that the conflict is supposed to be on the side of the audience.
No, I think he's. I don't
think he'd do that. I think he might. I think he might. I think he would think about it like in the abstract, not as in like I am going to maybe do this. You know what I mean?
No, I think he was.
I might actually disagree there, but I do think that it crossed his mind. But where I have to concede is that I think it's presented in a way that it seems fairly obvious to me that the thought didn't last very much in his head. Like he just looked at Yoru sleeping. He just went like, well, but then immediately went like, nah. And then just
here's where
it just went the light route.
Here's where I'm gonna comment. Because I'm reading this whole thing as like this is the devil temptation, right? Like this is, ooh, you know what I mean? Yoru's coming in with, talking about stuff that, Denji's interested in.
The first line of the chapter is, couldn't sleep 'cause too many boners.
That's what I'm saying, you know what I mean? He's she's coming in hot, and, Denji's weakness right there, I think he's getting, we're seeing the tension there. We're seeing this, Denji's name is like a play on Angel Tenshi, but we're seeing the devil side.
Okay.
He's an angel with the diacritical marks, so it's like fucked up a little bit. I think so. I think he's a little fucked up. I think you gotta give the boy his due. He's got fucking problems. He
does have problems, but he did do the bare minimum.
But he did the right thing.
In a world that is entirely collapsing around him, and he has almost nothing to live for. Right. The bare minimum, like...
Not the Breaking Bad here for Denji is pretty good for a person. The bare minimum, the bar has, lowered so much that the bare minimum at this point is actually... Yeah,
it's not terrible. I don't want to,
holding together his psyche and his humanity at this point is pretty good, but this is not,
I don't want to make him out as a hero or anything, because a lot of people were saying, oh my god, he's perfect, etc., etc. And I'm like, he's just doing the bare minimum.
Because he doesn't do to others what others have constantly done to him.
Yeah,
it's commendable in the sense that, in isolation, it is the bare minimum.
Reminder, shit that
but
Yoru,
for somebody who, right?
Shit that Yoru did to him, this person did to him a few times in the recent past. So again, like I said, you're coming in with the temptation, not just the temptation, but the influence, the confusion.
But then he has been holding on pretty hard because Yoru is throwing everything but the kitchen sink at him to make him fall into temptation, and he just isn't.
Yeah,
and he kind of slipped up in the rooftop, but he recovered pretty fast from it, to be honest. So we don't know per se, but
it's all fucked up. It's all fucked up.
I really like this this is still one of those things where I do agree with Winter, Art Devil for those who are uninitiated, that this is pretty much just put there to bait the audience into thinking that something's gonna happen, because we just gotta
absolutely
we're just coming out of a situation where he's teetering on the edge of I need this so bad, and he just doesn't do it.
Letting you know he's not done yet. Don't count him out just yet. He's still holding on by a thread, but
there's that fine line between hope and despair. Every single chapter that comes out, I see half a dozen people say, "I don't know how this could get any worse. I don't know what hope there is." And every single time, there's always just that one little bit of positivity that he slips into the story that keeps you going from it just being complete misery.
Well, speaking of complete misery, the death toll and missing count of Yoru's rampage is
900 dead.
I don't know the account for the Gun Devil attack, but is it that high? The Part 1 Gun Devil attack? I'm not sure.
The first attack left millions dead.
Yes, the first one.
But when it attacked Makima, I don't think there were
I don't think
over
it reached 900
people killed.
Because we got all the names, and there are a lot of names, but not 900.
Yeah.
There are. I want to say there's a. I counted them at one point, and I don't think it was over 1,000.
Certainly not. Yeah. So
sorry, that's a totally insane thing to do. I'm just realizing.
Hey, you do what you gotta do. Names. It wouldn't be that bad. There's a lot of regularity to the list structure.
Someone out there has to collect all the data, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can do some geometric analysis, multiplication kind of stuff. 900 dead, 3,800 missing. Yours evil as fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is... I'm not hearing... Okay.
I just found someone who counted their 884 gun devil victims, so...
Yes.
Yep.
There you go.
This is more.
Beat it by 16. A little bit.
Yoru
plus however many people are missing and dead.
Yeah. Plus, all of the missing, because she also obliterated a fucking city block. This is horrible. And Asa... This is like... character construction wise, this is like worst possible scenario for Asa, right?
Oh yeah, it's
because like all of the motivating trauma of her life comes from
feeling responsible for deaths.
Well, a devil
responsible for that,
yeah.
Specifically, a massive devil attack disaster, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why she hates devils. That's why she comes in hot, hating the world. It's because of a devil attack that of this type that caused massive destruction, and in which she tried to save a cat and her mother died. That moment is it, and now she is
the devil.
One half of the devil who did exactly this, who did exactly the thing that caused.
Except way worse.
Yeah, worse. Probably the worst. It says unprecedented destruction, so I guess technically narration confirmed the worst of Tokyo's history, which is, fitting of the war devil, obviously extremely fearsome concept. So yeah, war. Hey.
Yeah, and it's really rough. It's really rough because, like you were saying, Asa right now is battling so many demons, in her mind outside of Yoru, because I'm pretty sure she's thinking back on, her origin story. What sent her through that spiral that sent her to the orphanage, that sent her to living by herself, going to school, seeing everybody be happy with loved ones and family, and she has nobody. And then thinking that she's partly responsible, at least that's what she thinks, she's partly responsible for probably causing that in countless other people. And I know we're gonna get to Asa by the end of this chapter.
It's fucked up.
Yeah,
it'll be really juicy, but
a lot of things to say about her.
The Asa Crashout is coming, but before we get to that, Denji wakes up, makes some gyoza. Really nice paneling on these 2 pages. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Great art.
And Asa makes pot stickers. We're sitting next to a corpse. This is a little bit what I said of that's the devil side of Denji. We're getting a little taste of the devilishness. You know what I mean? Corpse on the ground, room is destroyed. Ain't nothing new. You know what I mean? He's lived that devil life like a devil, completely destitute and disconnected from society. He's lived it before for many years, so
back and the nonchalant way he talks about
hey, they're really good.
how dangerous Yoru is.
Yeah,
he knows,
Yes.
it's been a night. He's had a chance to calm down a little, and he's just like, oh, she's totally gonna fuck me over.
I mean, ain't nothing new, you know what I mean? This is shit, here we go again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
And him acknowledging that Yoru is the worst of the women he's involved himself with.
Yeah.
He said, oh,
She's all
this girl
fucked
might
up.
probably be the worst. So I'm probably gonna get screwed. So
I think that's pretty.
he's just going on automatic, like, oh, it's gonna happen anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, I think that is sort of unequivocal at this point. But Fujimoto, he does his thing, on the one side he has Asa, which is like the realest shit he's ever gone with, and on the other side he's got Yoru, which is the most evil shit that's ever come through. So it's like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? Like, Fujimoto, you have fucking problems. You know what I mean? Why are you like this? Why the fuck would you do this?
It's like night and day.
It's like night and day.
Oh wow, there you go.
You're fun. Very
name drop,
funny.
right?
Very
funny.
Very
Very hilarious.
I love Chainsaw Man. It's so funny, right?
Subtle symbolism.
But yeah, very subtle, you know what I mean? I know people get very lost with what's going on with Chainsaw Man. I'm just going to say it. Read Chainsaw Man. You might pick up a few things.
Yeah. You might pick up a few things.
Yeah, this is a great podcast to recommend people to read Chainsaw Man from.
That's what we do on this podcast. Speaking of reading, let's set Denji and Asa aside for a hot minute, because we have a lot to talk about
Oh yeah,
what is happening in the story. Yeah, it's a great
in all of Chainsaw Man. I'm ready for this talk.
Xavier, big Fami fan coming through here, and we get some Fami lore coming in hot. Of course, no one still knows the truth about Fami. This character is so fucking annoying in that way. Literally impossible. Literally completely inscrutable character. It's actually insane.
I think she says she's like the ultimate poker face by design. That's just how she is. That's just how she operates. But I do think she's honest. I do think that when she speaks, you should believe what she's saying in this kind of contest. Like, she might not tell you everything, but in this chapter, I think there's really not a lot of room to doubt whatever she's saying.
No, I mean,
I find.
Yeah, anything that she does say could, he could throw it out the window as like, Lamau, I was lying. But I don't. It would be kind of cheap, and also she doesn't seem like that kind of character. You know what I mean? I think lying would annoy her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's too much work for her. I think it'll be too much work. Like, I gotta keep this up. I gotta lie again so that people don't doubt it.
Yeah, she doesn't want to weave an intricate web of lies. She's here for a good time, which is what we discuss here. So just to remind what we're talking about, Yoshida and Fumiko, who what? Anyway,
honestly,
Fumiko? Question mark?
What does that question mark mean?
Who the fuck is this character?
Yeah, that's a good question. We just kind of like had a clone show up out of nowhere, and then just it's been like 4 chapters and it just hasn't been mentioned whatsoever.
I really don't want this to be a Kobeni situation where we just have some sort of secret power hinted, and then
there's no way in hell he's gonna do that. Kobeni pulling out ninja moves is one thing.
My biggest fear right now is that Fumiko's not gonna be relevant for a hot minute.
I think we're past that.
This feels like a farewell for now chapter. Like, you're not useful in the story right now, so we're just gonna bench you while we work out what happens later.
I
But
don't know about that. Let's just
I got no idea. I'm once again not gonna fucking predict shit.
I mean, literally, who knows what the fuck is going on? But
because I'll be wrong. I was probably wrong last time too. I came on the show.
We've had very limited correct predictions on this podcast because it's not possible. You know what I mean? This guy's... no one knows what the fuck he's doing. Least of all, probably him. So, something's up with Fumiko, but everybody's just acting like normal. Admittedly, I don't think anyone knows about it except the audience at this point. And Fumiko is apparently playing it cool. You know what I mean?
Yoshida knows about it, right?
No,
because he took Fumiko's heart.
Yes.
He would have asked questions if he took her heart and then all of a sudden they get spitted out.
I suppose.
He's like, wait, what are you here?
I suppose probably Yoshida would know. He's sort of a knower of things, but
a knower.
Yeah, he knows stuff.
And they're buddies. I think they're probably buddies. So
his problem.
He would have to know her power.
Right. Whatever she's got going on, he's probably aware. But I guess it's casual then at this point. It is
I'm still all in on clone theory. Why the hell not?
The clone?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a clone type scenario. It could be a clone character. An Ayami Rei reference in the ongoing Evangelion reference. Why not? I love that.
I can think of a lot of devils that can use like either reflection powers or cloning powers. Or body swapping.
I guarantee
you can get that from a lot of fear. So
whatever bullshit cosmology he has cooked up to explain this shit, I guarantee you it is not going to make as much sense as that. It's gonna be some random shit. You're gonna be like, yo, what? And this guy's mind is bizarre.
Yeah. The things that Fujimoto, which is something else, like deviating a little bit, but the things Fujimoto's willing to come up with just to make the things in his universe make sense for no real reason. Like, we have this entire explanation in Aging's world, but like, wait, what? Humans can do what? Wait?
Yeah, and
that's a natural human thing to do?
This is that. You know what I mean? It's just a nice little conceptual thing. I love it. But Yoshida, Fumiko coming in hot, being like, hey, help us out. Fami, not willing to help them because school festival's coming up.
Yeah, I actually 100% I believe her. I think she's just turned into the camera and saying exactly what she means, except there is no camera and she's facing away from us.
Right. Actually literally the opposite of that, but
yeah.
So
it's like
she's doing the equivalent of giving of looking the audience in the face and saying what she's about.
I will say, in terms of like the character's inscrutability, this is a very clear-cut way to make it 100% ambiguous as to her emotional state. For anybody who's trying to figure out, is she genuine? What the fuck is she going on about? If you're interested in that, well, Fujimoto has locked it in the box again. So you're gonna have to wait even a little bit more for even a little fucking hint of what is going on in Fami's mind. Thank you, Fujimoto, for that.
I really like the
detail work.
I really like Fami's whole dialogue in this part of the chapter too, because she's like, people are like, oh, what you're doing doesn't make sense, how you act doesn't make sense, and she just goes like, I'm the famine devil, like, I like to indulge.
Yes.
I like things that entertain me. I like things that make me feel fulfilled. That's eating, hanging out, and just doing whatever I wanted to.
Hey, consumption.
Consumption. It's just consumption.
Yes.
Also, for the record, I want to point out, Yoshida was like, "You're never going to be undercover with a name like Fami," and
she was like,
no, she just totally did it. Her friends show up, they call her that. They say she's a little weird, and then they take her away like a cat. Like, you know how you lift up a cat and it has its arms out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vibes I get.
The fact that she gave herself such an ubiquitous name, and people are just like rolling with it. They're like, "Oh, it's Fami."
Well,
whatever.
I don't think the like humanoid devil phenomenon is like an extremely well understood thing, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, it was very difficult for that mob to sort of clock Nayuta when she was like, "Wait, I'm just a kid." They were like, "She does look just like a kid. That is kind of. Is she a devil? What the hell's going on?" Whereas if they were aware of this kind of thing, you know, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, it's probably fucking devil."
Because
one of these humanoid devils. You know what I mean?
The eyes are not obvious to anyone but the reader.
Yeah,
because when they mention like the Asa and Yoru switching thing, they only mention the scars. When people are staring Nayuta in the face and they're like, "Oh, it's a kid. That's just a kid."
Yeah.
With some weirdo eyes that you never see in the world.
Hey,
and then nobody suspects Fami either. So
it's anime stuff, you know what I mean? Fumiko's got her whack looking eyes as well.
I've always been a firm holder of the belief that if you saw someone with horseman eyes in real life, first of all, you might not even notice because you might not even look that closely at their eyes. Second of all, if you did notice, you'd be like, their eyes are a little different. You probably wouldn't be like, "Hey, what's up with your fucked up eyes?"
You don't, the people who have the information about these devils are on the bench with one, and the rest of the world doesn't know. Very specifically, public safety probably makes sure of that. So, it isn't. I don't think it is. It is not. I don't think it is, the kind of thing you would expect. Like, if you have a classmate, you would, even if they had the worst cover ever, unless someone told you that it was true, and even if somebody did, you'd probably be like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Unless you already have some level of suspicion, like, you're just gonna brush it off. Because
whatever.
I can understand that.
Yeah, you gotta live your normal life, you know what I mean? You just gotta, you got your own shit going on, right?
On that note, I really like this characterization of Fami because, so we know that she has friends that are close enough to just go like, "Hey, there's Fami, let's pick her up and drag her somewhere else."
Miss Popular.
And that's really cool, actually. That's really cool to see that Fami, with all of her quirks, has this like really tight knit friend group.
I mean, one of the things
likes to have fun with.
She likes to enjoy as people, so she enjoys seeing the stupid little goofball humans live their stupid little lives.
Honestly, she is the exact kind of friend that I would have had in high school. Like,
interesting.
Just like kind of weird,
detached,
kind of quiet, kind of detached.
Just
hangs out a lot. There.
That's a great friend. Just hang.
Yeah, like I don't think someone like her would have any trouble getting friends.
Low maintenance, slow baggage. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because with Asa and Yoru, she was barely registering. She was barely registering as a character that was active within those scenes.
Wow.
But she was there, and now knowing that she was just there just to hang out, it's hilarious.
Yeah, she was just watching. She was just
watching. She was
literally
just watching. She was like, "Oh, that's fun."
We were like, "Why weren't you doing anything?" she was just enjoying the show. You know what I mean? I mean, she's one of the few who gets a front row seat, right? Like,
to whatever's going on, yeah.
I think nobody else in the world really knows
watching people
everything that's going on. She knows
scramble to try to figure out what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
So and we were all like going crazy, going insane with theories like, why she's hanging around them? Why is she always sitting between them? Oh my God, this just gotta have some secret meaning.
She just likes hanging around.
Well,
yep.
Let's put it this way: in this sequence, Fami comes in. Let's do a little Fami analysis here. Fami comes in and she says, I'm here to save I'm here for experiences. She is the consumer. You know what I mean? She is consumption. There's a, underappreciated thematic thread in part 2 of sort of consumer culture, consumption, and how it relates to like the bigger topics of, death, and war and destruction and all this kind of stuff. It's very consistent aspect of the story, and here we come heading into the home stretch of the story. Fujimoto's coming in and hitting you with it. Be like, famine, consumption, get it in your head, think about it, then go read it again. You know what I mean? Boom, now you get it, right? So this consumerist, consumption-focused culture papering over the realities of war and destruction and how it comes between people and their desires and the youths, etc.
I'm a big fan of not Denji.
What
do you mean?
The girl in the hoodie.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, Fumji.
Sorry, I just thought it was like appropriate comedic timing with you talking about all the big themes, and I'm like, I like her character design. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, she looks just like all the girl Denjis I've been drawing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's classic, Fujimoto. Comedic timing right there. Big thematic reveal, big time drop about the character, and then the next page, she gets picked up like a rag doll and carry her off. 2 characters, hope we get to see them again. They
look like Aki and Denji, but like female versions. People were like, freaking out about it.
Gender swap.
I think it's on purpose.
All I'm saying is that Chainsaw Man's editor liked one of my girl Denji illustrations. There's like a non-zero chance he's seen the concept.
Fujimoto likes to mess around with genders at times in his works. Doing a little gender swapping on the side. Why not?
When's the Fire Punch
also
height
swapped, you know what I mean? So now in gender swap version, Denji's the taller one, Aki's the shorter one. Nice stuff.
Speaking of the juxtaposition, the complete destruction of the city, where Denji and Yoru are, it could not be more different from the
park.
The picturesque park
is in perfect condition.
Absolutely nothing has been destroyed or touched in the immediately buildings getting blown the hell up.
Must be out in Chiba, away from the downtown area where the destruction was going on.
And it's very interesting too. Now that you mention it, because also Fujimoto illustrating just how calm and run-of-the-mill and day-to-day everybody's life is already being, while our 2 main characters are in utter turmoil, are in utter chaos, and everything's going downhill and everything's crumbling, while everything else is just moving along. No devils, no fires, just a nice day in the park.
One thing that I always find that is very standout about Fujimoto's work overall, no exception here, is he's very the observations are on point. So like I'm reminded of like when things started popping up in Kiev some years back. Topical to the political moment. When things started popping off in Ukraine, and you had the footage of like the day after, the invasion, the attack began, and in Kiev, which was getting fucking shelled and shit, right? Had like air raid sirens going off, people going into shelters and shit. There's footage of a guy with a bag of I don't remember what exactly it was. Was it like newspapers or something? But just people going to work. You know what I mean? War's on. Hey, the client's still waiting, right? Like, what do you gotta do? Not go to your job? I mean, you do what you gotta do. Unprecedented destruction downtown, but this ain't downtown.
That also plays into the whole Fami shtick, the consumerism, her speech and something like that. Like, you have all of this chaos happening. Fami is like a microcosm of how everybody else is ingesting everything that's going on right now. Because you have all of this chaos, you have all of these things happening, but Fami really just wants to keep it going and keep it moving. I want to eat more, I want to hang out more, I want to do more, and things keep being increasingly worse and worse and worse. But people refuse to just change the traction of their lives. They just keep on trudging along because you gotta keep going, you gotta keep getting, you gotta keep doing stuff. And I know there's also a message of like, pushing through, being optimist, and not letting anything get you down. But I think it's also a commentary on people not really internalizing anything. And people not really dealing with the chaos that's around them, just going about their lives, ignoring everything.
Yeah.
Focusing on small pleasures and stuff.
We'll come back to this, but there's one before we move on to our final 2 pages here. We get a little Yoshida tidbit. I can't believe Yoshida enjoyers hanging like
delicious.
This.
I've been wanting to talk about this for the last 37 minutes.
He does a little exposition, and then he basically drops out of the conversation until the very end, where he's hit with,
no fun, huh?
No fun. Y'all ain't fun. God. Y'all boring.
Like, that's just so, like, that's so... I don't even know a word I would use for it. Like, characterful. Like, that one line is so rich with like character and it puts a lot of like his actions in the more casual moments into perspective. Like the fact that he's constantly joking.
He's trying to be a fun guy.
Or he's all smiles at like weird times.
Right. I mean, back when he met Fami the first time, his surprise.
Surprise, yeah.
This fucking guy.
And then, it's one of my...
And how she doesn't even react.
Exactly.
And then...
And
it's...
I mean,
she's just so amazing.
She's right, you know what I mean? Like, she's fucking... She cooked him a little bit,
And then that moment really brought me back into thinking about all of the Yoshida, like, there's this meme that Yoshida is subtext man. He's never really direct about anything. He dances around a lot of stuff. He tries to be playful with everything.
That's right.
But it just never lands with everyone.
A level of remove, you know what I mean? He's trapped in it, you know. He can't stop. He
brings up the topic of, hey, we're all just friends. Hey, you and me are friends, but he gets denied all, like, every situation where he tries to establish himself as Denji's friend. Well, Denji just doesn't give a crap.
You know,
he established himself as Denji's friend.
Yoshida never
doesn't give a crap.
Lowers the barrier, right? You know,
right?
Yoru toxic as hell, but there's no boundaries.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Speaking of the barrier, I actually had something. I don't know who pointed it out to me, but back in the theater. Chapter 136, right before Fumiko's introduction.
Oh yeah. Bringing back your
when the pair of them are just sitting in the theater.
Yes.
Yoshida's like, even knowing we're cutting class, this isn't that fun. He brings it up like apropos of nothing.
That's right.
And
he's
Denji says no talking during the movie because he actually wants to see the movie.
Well,
Yoshida's perception is like defaulting to this isn't fun, this isn't enjoyed, this sucks, and Denji is the one who actually offers some subtle pushback, and like that's with this line, it's so indicative of his perspective of like pushing other people away, focusing on parasocial relationships, being like, too afraid of getting hurt, stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is with him? We'll have to wait for that, because
so much is with him. He's got all the goddamn.
There's a lot
with
him,
and we still don't know what it is. Yoshida fans.
Before we move on, we want to wait. I'm like, you asked like, oh, what's Fumiko's deal? What's up?
Yes.
I think I like the side of Fumiko that we saw in this little segment, because I think it's the first time we ever see her being taken aback. I think this is the first time we see her being like absolutely frustrated to the point where she's screaming like, what the hell is wrong with everybody? Why doesn't anybody see this as a problem?
Yeah,
and it's the first time where I see her react to something, and I'm like, yeah, she's probably just like a weird woman with a contract who's trying her best, and nothing's working out, and everything else, she's so weird.
Genuinely, the fact that she is straight manning in this conversation makes me a little insane. Like, because we just saw her die, and then there's like another one, and now she's just being like, what's with y'all? And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she doesn't act like someone who just died and came back as a clone. And she didn't act like that in like the restaurant either.
Yeah.
Like,
what is going on?
She's acting so normal.
Yes.
Fucking me up.
It's like really fucking.
Nothing happened. Like, this is just regular life for her. Like, oh, I get killed all the time. I'm just,
There's like that Breaking Bad meme where they're acting like nothing happened. You know what I mean? The two actors is like, that's exactly it. It's like some crazy shit went down the story, and now
like the
Yoshida
Avengers shawarma after
there's just like
the destruction of New York.
This is just normal for us. Normal for a guy like me, All right.
That's
crazy. This is not normal. We're going into the final 2 pages. Denji's having a little fun with the obliteration of the city. Oh, Denji. Which prompts Asa.
But the buildings do. Maybe I'm trying to be like Coperman, but the buildings do look kind of abandoned.
Well, yes, certainly. This is,
Maybe he's like, oh, there's nobody living there anyway, so whatever.
I think we're supposed to consider them abandoned.
Yeah. We're not seeing people get obliterated. Like, who's in there? If you're in there, you need...
If we were supposed to consider them as being potentially populated, I imagine we would see signs of it.
Right. Yeah, also, I feel like if you're in there at this point, it's like, what are you doing in there? You know what I mean? Either you are dead because
those
it caught
buildings are
fire
falling
and was
apart
obliterated,
already.
or like you're probably not gonna live. You know what I mean? If you're in there. So
Also, interesting tidbit. No more fires.
yeah, the fires burned out overnight.
See anymore.
They don't.
Yeah.
You know, the fires burn and then they go out as Denji.
That is what fires do.
Well aware of what happened with that one.
Yeah, but I just find it may have something to do with the Fire Devil moving on to something else.
Sure.
To maybe another phase of the plan, or who knows? Because I'm part of the group that thinks that the Fire Devil is going to be like a big deal later on.
So I do gotta say that the news report at the beginning does show fires. Now there could be past footage, but it could be live as well. So who you know?
Right.
I think the Fire Devil is sort of an ongoing process in the city wherever they're at. They're not here now. I guess even are they there when the fires are going? We don't really understand the parameters of this devil. Still, Fami lore looming, Yoshida lore looming, Fire Devil lore looming. Just
honestly,
every fucking thing about the Death Devil looming.
I think a lot of this counts as not even looming anymore. I think it's just lore, you know?
I mean, yeah.
Maybe at this point we can consider it that, yeah.
I guess, but it also seems very relevant to these two. Like, it seems directly relevant to the characters involved here, right? You know what I mean? Like, certainly it is an element of the background, but I mean, at least the Death Devil is currently directly relevant. And
for me, thing to point out on the conversation from the festival, like, because we forgot to mention it, the festival is the same day as the supposed descent of the Death Devil.
Yes, another thing that we
skipped
over.
Really important point.
Timeline enjoyers, eat your heart out because there's
we gotta talk about the timeline.
There's 1 month left. This timeline is straight up scuffed.
No, I think because I did some thinking, and the only part of it that you like, the part that scuffs it is Baron's line that there is a half a year left until the end of the world. Right. If you take that line out, the entire rest of the part makes sense. So I'm going to assume that was the fuck up, and this is how it's supposed to be.
Well, we also don't exactly know, because public safety here is operating on privileged information, right? They have their own experiments that they have done with their devil abilities, that tells them sort of the objective reality of the situation.
Yeah, they they contacted the future devil to find out when all those people were going to die.
Barem's information would only be coming from Fami and like the prophecy or what have you, whatever Fami has told him. And we don't know really what Fami's intentions are at all. And they are at sort of cross purposes with Barem's in a way. You know what I mean? Like,
I am
they
curious.
Don't have exactly aligned goals.
Yeah.
And it could be that Fami just doesn't tell him, or you know, he only has whatever sources he has, right? There's nothing in the story that makes Barem an objective arbiter of how the prophecy's gonna go down. It could be one of those things where, like, everybody, there's the popular discussion is that the prophecy's gonna go down like this, and then it's gonna catch everybody off guard because, it's earlier than they expected, right?
I still think there was some screwing around with the. I think the descent has some prerequisites, and I believe that Fami, in some way or another, was screwing around with the prerequisites.
Well, certainly,
public safety.
She has, of the arbiters thus far, Falling and then Fire Devil, if that's as we understand it, she brought them both. So,
there were supposed to be devils that would herald the coming of the Death Devil, but she was the one who called them forth.
Right. She's been
in the
directly involved with moving the prophecy along. I said before, I sort of see her as like an accelerationist.
Same.
I think she's trying to accelerate it, and this timeline that public safety has is like aware of that fact, and maybe the broader timeline that people are working off outside of the government investigation agency. Shout out to our partner division, by the way. Good work, everybody. But over in the information division, the work they do, we get to know really what's going on the inside.
Right. What was on that list that Yoshida gave Fami? We keep going back with that. It's just that was just so full of information.
Yeah, he gave her a book. Honestly, I feel like if it had been 1 page, she might have done it. As soon as it was like 2, it was over. She's like, nah.
Absolutely.
Doing this is a lot of stuff.
If they had just been able to condense it down, feed it. If this was not the 90s, they could feed
just
it.
Hit the important notes, please.
They could feed it through GPT and get a really shitty generic bullet point version.
Can I get a Spark Notes version of this?
They didn't have access to that technology.
Also, the hilarious irony of a devil planning a prayer festival for the city, to move forward.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Knowing that festival is probably going to be the apocalypse.
Yeah. Let's talk about. Let's fucking talk about the last.
Before we move on, I do have one more question about Fami, for you specifically, Dubs. If this chapter has still left you wanting to know more about what her deal, what her motive is, I'm wondering what would do that for you.
Not necessarily her. I think her motive has been stable. It's just, what is she up to? What is she doing and why?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing in terms of her hanging around with them and having a good time, enjoying the show. That makes sense. That's great. But she's also doing other stuff that is involved with the apocalypse. How does that connect to this? You know what I mean?
She has been doing a whole lot of stuff.
We don't have that final piece of the puzzle. That's
honestly, I got one guess.
Yeah.
Which is she actually spent some time with Yoru and Denji. She spent an afternoon with them and was like, well, I can't fucking do anything with these bozos. Yeah. I'm just gonna go hang out.
It's done. We're cooked. I mean, yes, but also the whole plan is to power them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and she's still
I do
doing
wonder
it.
I guess. Still active. Sure. Because people have just left Yoru alone, and she said she was gonna turn Denji, but what reasons do they have to believe that she's just going to go along with the plan because she wants to?
I mean, not to power scale here, but what are they gonna do?
Not to power scale. The words of every power scaler ever.
Not to power scale, but speaking of the final 2 pages, she's just blasting holes through buildings from 1,000 yards, firing bullets across the planet, and she can still make weapons from.
Also, so that means that thing is still alive. the gun goddess is still posted up in New York shooting pot shots
Who knows?
at Japan, and nobody has been able to take it down.
Oh, yeah.
America really is washed.
Well, no, because she has the normal Gun Devil blast as well. The gun goddess is much larger than a building. It's like an entire city block. It wiped out the 900 plus.
It's like a statue of liberty.
Right? Yeah. It's like a full scale. I mean, a bomb. Not to put too fine a point on it, is like a large bomb. This is this is like a missile launcher or something. With her gun. And speaking of that missile launcher, we end with it pointed at Denji by one Asa Mitaka. Oh, this episode's gonna be a little bit longer, but Asa Crashout. Incoming.
Oh my god. Yes.
Incoming.
Yes.
Hot.
Yes.
Coming in hot. This is Asa. This expression on her face is not reconciliatory. She's crashing the fuck out.
It's so good. The paneling is... It's perfect. Like the way that she's in the dark, she has the shadow, Denji's in the light, with the shadow coming across him. And then the panel after that, with her pointing the finger directly at him, is like... That there's so much written on her face that like it makes me not even upset anymore that like because it was a long-standing complaint with a lot of people that we didn't really get Asa's internality.
What's going
and now
on with Asa?
And now looking at that panel, I'm like, oh my god, I get it. I get why he didn't do that. Is because seeing it written on her face is so much more powerful than just hearing it written out.
It hits different when you gotta wait. Let me just put it that. Yeah. Let's just put it that way. It hits different when when you're thinking of thinking about it. So
real emotional.
Wondering and thinking about it. Let's get into. I feel like this is going to be a longer one than we normally do. Let's get into our final segment of the show, which always goes perfectly, and we get everything right. We're going to try and predict how this conversation is going to go down.
How long can we talk about one page?
How long can we talk about 3 panels? Well. There's a lot to say about Asa and Denji's relationship at this point. I have some interesting comments, but I want to hear what you two are thinking.
Those last 2 panels are really interesting because I don't know if I'm all in that Asa's just gonna like crash out fully, because her face seems like she's about to do something that she's been thinking over for a while and is afraid of having to do it. So it's something that she's conscientiously doing or about to do, that she's like, oh, this is gonna suck. Because she seems apprehensive. The face seems like somebody that's afraid of what she's about to do.
She seems like disappointed that it's gotten to this point. Like so pained.
Right. She's
she didn't want it to get here. She
looks a little nervous. Looks a little scared.
She's never had to threaten another person before, I don't believe.
Well, she was gonna kill Denji before, and that was originally her plan, was to.
But she totally didn't.
She didn't. She changed her mind about it, but
she didn't, and she wasn't that deep into the situation with Denji right now. She knows a little bit more. She knows he's Chainsaw Man. He has saved her a bunch of times.
But what I'm saying is,
that's on her mental right now.
She originally was thinking about it, couldn't bring herself to do it, and now she has brought herself to that point. Or has she? So, in terms of the predictions, is Asa blasting or nah? What are we?
I think
What's
she's
going
gonna
on?
blast, but not with the intent to like really kill him. I think she's gonna blast, but with the intent of scaring him off. I think she wants to
Maybe.
create some definitive distance between her and Denji because of
Interesting.
Yoru.
Interesting.
I don't know how successful that's going to be, but I think that what she wants to do is just, paint herself as an unapproachable object for Denji. Object in the loosest term, obviously.
Strong.
You know,
Establish a strong boundary. Like, get
you
the
shouldn't
fuck
want to
out
be
of
around
here.
it. You shouldn't want to be around me. Like, if Yoru doesn't kill you,
Cut it
like,
all
I
off.
will. Like, get away from me. Just, like, get away from me. You
For
shouldn't
both
be
of our
around me.
sakes.
Nobody should.
Yeah. She's gonna take all of the responsibility on herself and be like,
Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna bear. You get out of here. You know what I mean?
She's been doing that because she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna
that's
save
how
you
she
no matter
operates.
what."
Yes, that
And
is
I
how
think this is
she
gonna be the
does
ultimate
stuff.
prize. Is like, I'll bear the weight and the guilt of all of this death, all of this blood, all of this suffering, but I'm gonna save you. So get out of here.
Right.
Ooh.
Winter, what do you take? Are you in on that, or how do you think it's gonna go?
Oh my god. Okay. Well, I was saying earlier, was posting about how Denji, at like a bare minimum, needs to get like yelled at. He needs to reckon with the fact of like what he has been doing with Asa's body while it's under Yoru's control. He needs to like he just needs to become aware of that entire
It's a wake up call.
Yeah.
That entire experience is like so
right. The depths of what Asa has been going through
and like
the position that she's in.
This ties back to the very first panel of the chapter where like
that's right.
I don't think that he was weighing in his mind like, I want to do this, I'm gonna do this, no, I'm not gonna do this. But I do think he was thinking about it, and I don't think in that moment he was considering Asa's autonomy like at all. If anything, he was thinking about Yoru's.
We don't know, but he's been definitely, even if you don't judge him over the line and all of it, because again, Yoru was the one doing all the stuff. You know what I mean? But it's a little like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Very much like, bro, you're right on the line. If somebody yells at you, you got nothing to say. Straight up.
And right on the line for Denji in this instance is like way fucking over the line if you're Asa.
Right, exactly. From Asa's perspective.
Yeah.
Asa absolutely deserved Crashout. She 100%. There are times where someone's crashing out and you're like, you're being ridiculous. This Crashout, you're like,
the thing I want
you know what I mean?
more than anything else in the story right now, just like as a development, is for Denji to actually recognize what the hell is going on, and not just to hear it, but to like actually acknowledge it, that like he's in this situation, he's culpable for his actions, and he I really hope, I don't know if it's gonna happen, I really hope he fucking gets yelled at and has like a serious moment of introspection.
I think it'll be a real wake up call for him.
Not introspection, just like realization.
So I agree with you, or I think that is correct, because these two characters fighting and arguing is like a well-established dynamic between them. But what I'm gonna say is sort of in the recent past, we understand all of the sort of frustration and resentment and deserved anger that Asa would have in this scenario, including towards Denji in a fully justified manner. But the resentment in this relationship has been building not only in a one-directional way for a very long time. Because let us not forget that the day before Denji's entire life falls apart because of the Chainsaw Man Church, he's standing outside the school in front of a big row of posters advertising the Chainsaw Man Church, and Asa's face is all over him. And when Barem showed up and busted out his dead sister, Asa was there with the church, with Fami, and with Barem. And now Asa knows too. Asa now has the awareness that she was, maybe in a less sort of visceral manner, she was getting some kicks. She was having some kicks. She was enjoying herself a little bit, working as a part of this plan, and that plan was to, kill Denji's family and destroy his life. And now to kill him and turn him into a weapon.
It's a callback to her laughing with Yuko, where she internalizes, like, I'm just here laughing with Yuko, and I know that a lot of people died. A lot of people are suffering, a lot of people died, and I'm just laughing it up. And she felt horrible about it. She kept laughing, but she felt horrible about it. And I think something similar might happen, because Asa does have a lot of things to yell about, but so does Denji.
That's what I'm saying.
Because she's affiliated with the people who killed his sister, and right before that, she was trying to de facto recruit him.
She's not affiliated. She's the face of the organization.
Yeah.
If she was a member, that's one thing. But when you're going on TV, advertising, posters all over the school, and then all this shit's going down, the Fire Devil, you were directly contributing to that and benefiting.
Maybe they yell at each other a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
They both have a lot of things that they should get out of their chest.
There's a lot of resentment, and they both deserve it in their own way. Now we understand.
I don't know if Asa deserves it, because she didn't know at any point that that's what was going to happen.
Hey, let's say
I think
there's a similar argument coming about Denji right now. Denji doesn't know the details of this scenario. Denji doesn't know what Asa was going through, and Asa didn't know what was going to happen.
But he does know she hates sex.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from.
He has gotten some information. He has gotten some stuff, but we gotta also understand that Yoru, and I know you probably talked about this like in the other chapter. Yoru, all of this information that Denji has on Asa, if he even remembers it by this point. Because, right after that, he went through the absolute ringer mentally and emotionally. But if he were to retain any of that information, like, Yoru has been appending it since they got back together. Because Yoru said, I'm part of Asa. She introduces herself as part of Asa's consciousness. She says, I'm doing this because Asa likes you.
Yeah.
So she's in a way like shifting part of the blame on Asa. Like, this is happening because Asa kind of wants it to happen.
I don't want people to get it too twisted away from the fact that, don't forget that Denji has been, layers and layers and layers of victimization by Yoru since then. And how connected is Asa to that? He doesn't know, right? So there's a layer of... For Denji, he wouldn't understand that Asa was being, tricked, manipulated, that she didn't know about this plan. He would just see her as the face of the organization that ruined his life, and he doesn't understand that.
He might have kind of an inkling because Baron did threaten to kill Asa when they were trying to recruit Denji.
True. Right.
That is true.
And that's a very conflicting moment because the guy that killed his sister threatened to kill Asa, who was supposed to be the face of the organization.
Right.
So that would lead him to believe that, all right, so not everybody's in cahoots with each other. But again, how is he going to interpret this? That's how we interpret it.
There's also, I think, a little...
Yeah, emotions are kind of running high for him right now.
That's what I'm saying. It's like...
There's going to be screaming in each part.
There could be a real big sort of hardcore falling out here.
Yeah, I don't...
Because they both have some... If they took it upon themselves to, they could both air some very legitimate complaints about the other person's actions.
And also physically harm each other.
Explaining to do. You know what I mean? They could both be like, well, what about this? What the fuck is the deal with that?
Speaking of the...
You did this, but you did that. Well, if it devolves to that, it's going to be so stupid. But
speaking of the misunderstanding, something I wanted to highlight that I think is really important is... Denji clocked at the beginning of the chapter, I'm probably going to get screwed again.
Mm-hmm.
And right now he views Asa as the one who's screwing him, which is so, that's such a miserable plot beat. Oh my god, it's not her. It's not her who's screwing you.
It's Yoru.
It's Yoru who's doing it.
You need to understand that there's a difference.
And the fact that his reaction is so muted makes me worried
here we go again.
That everything is just going to bounce right off him. And he's just going to be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
I
hope that doesn't happen, but
that's what I'm saying.
He's not acting surprised or dismayed at all. He's just looking at her normally, hey, I knew this was going to happen.
I'm afraid that she's going to get a lot of good points off, but he's not going to receive any of them because he's just in whatever mode.
God, I hope not. Denji's ignorance means,
hey, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. This was wrong of you. Maybe you're gonna kill me now or what?
I'm really expecting a proper fight.
I think we're gonna get some. I think last arc we confronted Denji's unwillingness to acknowledge his past. I think this arc we're gonna get to Denji's unwillingness to acknowledge his present. And I hope that's right now.
Yeah.
That's what my fingers are crossed for.
I think we're getting a little bit of a
it might take a few chapters of
dialogue and setup.
Yeah. Well, maybe one chapter knowing Fujimoto's pace.
Oh no. But it'll be done. It'll be
within 2 chapters. 3 if
half a chapter. I bet he could do it. He can do it. This guy is cracked.
I don't know what the hell half a chapter of that would look like.
Hey,
but he can do it. If there's any author working today who could do it, it's him.
In our predictions, Xavier has Asa's going to scare him off. Winter has Asa Crashout yelling at Denji. Denji does a little introspection. I've got Asa Crashout yelling, and Denji's going to cut loose a little bit of some frustration that he has not aired. Some frustration towards Asa that he has been holding back on. That's what
I will say, I don't necessarily think Asa is going to yell. I think Denji deserves to get yelled at. I don't know if she's the kind of person who would yell at him. She might be like too emotionally vulnerable and might like start crying or something instead. That's what I would do if I was in this situation. I'd probably start scream crying.
Asa has 100% yelled at Denji before.
Yeah.
For some bullshit. In fact, just recently, timeline-wise, before they got to sushi, before the alleyway, she was yelling at him.
She was berating him for the right reasons, actually. Mm-hmm. But she did yell at him.
Yeah, right? And Denji has come back at Asa before as well. Back in the aquarium, they started off arguing, fighting.
Go to hell, go to hell, go to hell, go to hell.
Denji coming at her with the real shit, like, you're boring as fuck. What the hell are you doing?
I think
he might hit her with a little bit of a truth there.
Another thing that I'm considering is that maybe like Asa says all these things. Why are you like this? Why you do this? Why are you going along with this so easily? I think this is the perfect moment also. I wouldn't go the fight route. I would go the trauma dump route. I think this is the perfect moment for Denji to go like, do you really not know why I'm like this? Okay. Boom, boom, boom. And,
this is all the shit that's happened to me.
And maybe he finally finds someone that he can openly talk about his past with, because he hasn't openly talked about his past with anybody that we know of. Not Aki, not Power. The only one that kind of knows something is Makima?
True.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was talking about it with Yoru.
Oh.
Alright. Oh my god. Yoru getting...
That's a truth, Nuke. That's a truth, Nuke.
No.
That's true. Like, he started
talking
about it.
Oh my god!
But he didn't go super into it.
Understanding the parameters of the story. There's something wrong with Fujimoto. There's literally something wrong with this guy.
Oh, I'm not ready for.
And on that note,
trauma dump happening with the worst character possible.
Note. It is Monday now, so it will be tomorrow and some change. As we chapters coming down the pipe. Look forward to it. It's gonna be I feel it's gonna be a doozy.
Oh, I'm way more excited I'm way more excited now than I was an hour ago, for sure.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of baggage from the story that has been tension building between these characters,
about to explode.
Ready to fucking blow up. I'm so fucking hype. It's gonna be a disaster. I think the fandom will tear itself apart on this one. I'm excited. I'm fucking hype. People are gonna be losing it. I'm ready to lose it. I love Chainsaw Man, and we will be back to discuss whatever the fuck happens in this
next
chapter. It comes back, it drops in the middle. You know what I mean? Completely unnecessary introduction of returning character. Classic,
Fujimoto.
No, not at all. But a
man can dream.
Yeah, a classic move for once the stories jump the shark. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we have a little bit more to turn all the way out. But whatever happens, we will be back here to discuss it. I would like to thank both my guests for discussing it this time. Thank everyone for listening, like, subscribe, comment, etc. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Fun time. See you.